It's time for another edition of Mets Musings.
Hi, this is Ron Darling. This is Skip Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to Mets Musings with Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of Mets Musings.
To another edition of Mets Musings. I hope you're all fine and dandy out there, and we're going to do something a little different. We're going to bring our guest in right away, and he's going to spend the whole time with us, and he is Jeff Cohen of Baseball and Barbecue. You heard me talk about this show time and time ad nauseum, but it really is a terrific show. And Jeff, welcome back to Mets Musings.
Thanks, Garrett. Great to be here.
Always great to speak to you, Jeff. And the Mets, Jeff, off to a pretty good start, but I don't know. There's a lot of question marks still.
A lot of problems. Yes, a lot of problems. Yes, they're 7-5, 12 games in a season. I get it. But just watching this team is so hard these days. Just to get that base hit, running to the scoring position. Like last night, they were 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position, and that one hit didn't score a run. That's the problem with this team.
Yeah, they get the hits when they don't need it. And then was it last night or the other night? A couple of times they had like first and second with one out or nobody out, bases loaded with one out, and they couldn't get a guy in. And it's frustrating.
It certainly is. And, I'm sure you're part of these Facebook groups. I am. And, people are complaining, and then other people saying, relax. It's just 12 games in a season. They'll get better. But, don't they remember last year or 2019 or 2018? They just can't hit with runners in scoring position. I don't get it. The names change. The owners change. They still can't do it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Is it maybe the president is back? Maybe that's part of the problem. I don't know what it is, but the funny thing is now we're on our third owner, or technically the fourth, I guess, if you count the DeRolay in there. But it's still a pitching organization. And, you can count the amount of good hitters that they grew and drafted on one hand.
Sure. Absolutely.
And, of course, the weather's played a big part in some of this mess. The Mets snowed out in Colorado, and they played a doubleheader. They made that game up. They split that doubleheader. And then they took the rubber game on Sunday with Stroman winning. Stroman continues to pitch well. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you make a great point there, Gary. The season's 3 weeks old, and it's been very, very choppy. I mean, they come from spring training, like I said, 3 weeks ago, sunny, 70-degree weather. They come up north. They're supposed to play the first series, which was canceled by COVID. Which, by the way, how come other teams can play with the taxi squad and the Nationals couldn't? I don't get that. Anyway. Then they come home. They lose 2 out of 3 to the Phillies. Okay, what are you going to do? Then the home opener. They win the home opener, and then they have the weather. Was at Sunday was that suspended game. They 2 batters, and then they suspended the game. Then you have a rainout. Then they have the doubleheader against the Phillies. Then 2 more rainouts. I'm sorry, 1 more rainout, and then the postponement in Colorado. And then they play a weekend series, freezing. And now we're in Chicago. I spoke to my boss today, who lives in Chicago, snowing this morning.
Oh, my goodness.
So, it's been choppy. They really haven't gotten heated up. There's no consistency. And that could be part of the problem. I get it. But, I think a hit here and there, a big hit would be nice. Just once in a while.
I think your microphone is scraping against your collar or your shirt there, so
Okay.
you may want to hold that out a little bit.
I'm getting all worked up, you know.
I know, and it's easy to do with this team because as you said, they just can't get that big hit. And if I was DeGrom, I don't know why he's not asking for a trade, because this guy goes out there and gives you excellent performances every time he pitches, and they just don't score for him.
Isn't that unreal? I mean, they did the other day just to get by in Colorado. But yeah, against the Fish, he loses, gives up 3 unearned runs, and loses. And by the way, we should be beating the Miami Marlins every time. I don't know why we have so much trouble with the Marlins.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I don't understand why we're having trouble. I don't know why we're having trouble with the Cubs or the Rockies either. I mean, they're the worst teams in the league, or one. I think the Cubs are the 4th worst team. The Rockies are like were the 2nd or 1st, and yet they have trouble with them. But
Right. And by the way, that game with DeGrom pitching, getting 14 strikeouts, and then Diaz pitching three strikeouts in the 7th inning. Seventh inning doubleheaders. Don't get me started. But they got 17 out of 21 outs on strikeouts, which is great for the Mets, but I can't see that being good for the baseball. That's just horrible.
yeah, and that's why they're moving they're experimenting with moving the rubber back a foot, but I think it's going to cause more problems than it's guys are going to they're going to try to overthrow them to get that 100-mile-per-hour thing, and they're going to hurt their arms, I think, trying to throw harder.
Yeah, it's I don't understand why they keep futzing with the game. Just leave it the way it is, and batters should be able to adjust. The defense adjust, the batters should adjust. Go the other way when you have to.
Yeah, that's the name of the game, adjustments. So I don't know. It's like you said, it's still early in the season, but there's some things. Now they've adjusted the rotation to have Joey Lucchesi pitch on Thursday and Jacob deGrom on Friday at home, to give deGrom now he requested an extra day of rest. So I don't know if he's just disgusted or he just wanted to come home earlier than the team. I don't know what, but
well, whatever Jacob deGrom wants, Jacob deGrom should get.
I agree wholeheartedly. JD Davis was out since the beginning of the season. He came back. Look, I know he's not going to be a Gold Glover, but he's just plain awful at third base.
Yeah, he looked like he had the yips yesterday. Couldn't get the ball out of his glove, took 3 or 4 steps. Runner was safe at first. Yeah, he's got to improve on his defense. But I have a feeling they're gonna trade for a third baseman in midseason.
Well, I think they have the third baseman there. I mean, Luis Guillorme he pinch hit last night, got a hit. I don't know what he's hitting, but I think he's hitting pretty well. When Davis was out, he performed admirably, made some sensational plays at third, and also hit. He's not going to give you the power hitting, but you know what? You don't need the power hit. This team needs hits. They need anybody to hit. And, if you want to play somebody with a hot hand, isn't he the guy to go with now?
Hey, he's only batting .417. I mean,
That's
come
it.
on. That's it. No, he does deserve a more playing time. He absolutely does. He's been playing great defense, and puts the bat on the ball. Doesn't have to hit it out. Just get on base, move the runners along. What happened? Whatever happened to get him on, get him over, and get him in? Whatever happened to that?
Exactly. And look, they don't have a heck of a lot of guys now that are getting them in, and that's the problem. I mean, Lindor is off to a terrible start. Conforto's off to an awful start. Alonso's not hitting that well either. So don't tell me because he hit a home run. Don't tell me he's not hitting either. He's striking out left and right.
Yeah,
The only guy who's really hitting on Nimmo, or I wouldn't even say Nimmo's hitting, but Nimmo always finds a way to get on base.
right.
And
You're right. Uh, they're only averaging 3.16 runs per game. And this is supposed to be that vaulted offense, supposed to be such a great offense that they're gonna, hit their way out of, slugging out 3 runs a game. That's not gonna win you at many games, even though they do have a winning record.
and I will be anxious to see what happens when the weather warms up a little bit. If it doesn't improve, then they have to do something. I'll give them for the first couple of games now. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that the weather they've really played in some god awful weather.
They have.
And as you said, the COVID thing, I don't understand. How did the Braves and the Phillies get to play the Nationals when they're 4 or 5 guys down, but we get canceled? And then Houston loses 4 or 5 of their key guy, Bregman
Right.
and Altuve,
Altuve, right.
and they have to play a series. It doesn't seem fair. It just doesn't seem fair to me. I don't understand how they're doing this and screwing. To me, the Mets got screwed. Now they've got to make up games at the end of the year that
Yeah.
perhaps they wouldn't have had to play. They're going to have to play, and they're going to play 7-inning doubleheaders, which is, I think, ridiculous if you're playing for a playoff spot. Can you imagine the last week of the season, you got to play a doubleheader and it's 7 innings.
I know, I agree with you, Gary, but it may benefit the Mets because their bullpen is not that good. I mean, Diaz made a save against the Rockies the other day. Do you know how close that game was becoming tied up? He was a foot away from giving up a homer. And in the other ballpark, it's out of here. But in Colorado, it just held it long enough.
Yeah, it was a lot of wind and it just held it in. So,
right. And let me ask you about this, Gary. You mentioned doubleheaders. A lot of them are going to be split doubleheaders. Split doubleheaders for 7-inning games. First of all, is that fair to the public? You buy a ticket, now you're getting less of a game, number one. Number two, wasn't the whole point of having split doubleheaders was to get the games in and then get out? If they're playing split doubleheaders, they're going to be there all day anyway. What's the point?
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. I don't get the point at all. And look, if you're going to play a split a day-night, why then technically it's not a doubleheader. Why don't you just play 9 innings?
Exactly.
I don't get that where they're getting away with this 7-inning thing on a split doubleheader. It just doesn't seem right to me. But
not to me either. And especially, like I said, they're going to be there all day. Wasn't the point is to get them out of there as quick as possible?
yeah, I don't understand it at all. I don't know what they're doing with this game anymore. It's just ridiculous. Manfred is just ruining this game, and it's just a craziness that's going on, and who knows what the heck the answer is going to be. But I seem to have froze up here. Let's see.
Oh, what's crazy is that one against the Marlins where they started it and it was suspended after 2-3 batters.
Oh,
That game is going to be a split doubleheader. One game is going to be 9 innings. The other one's going to be 7.
yeah.
And by the way, Stroman started that game. So if it's not his day to pitch, you can't use him. So you can be down a player.
You see, now that's where it's wrong. I think that's where the whole thing goes south for me. I'm having some issues here with my camera apparently, but I'll keep talking. You can hear me.
can hear you.
Yeah, that's where it goes south for me because it just doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
It doesn't.
It's his game, and they should have never started him then.
No, and anybody with a phone can tell it was not. We weren't going to play that game.
No, it was a terrible day. It was pouring, raining out. Here we are.
Mhm.
We're back now. And I don't know. I don't know. But we've discussed this before. We don't know what the heck he's up to. Manfred. I don't know. You know what? It's like he's throwing things at the wall to see what'll stick. I mean, first he wants more offense, but he wants to pick up the pace of play. Well, I don't. To me, that two things contradict one another. You can't. If you get more offense, it's going to make the games longer.
Right.
It's like he hates pitching and he wants to punish the pitchers.
You know what makes the game go quicker? That replay. Every time you see a replay, it takes long. If they can't, you know what? If they can't tell within 30 seconds, call stands. Be done with it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. The whole the time that they put into that. It's incredibly long and drawn out and just plain awful.
And you have to have a challenge. If you challenge and loses, you lose any more challenges.
Yeah.
But what is but a crucial call later in the game, you can't challenge it?
No. I mean, you get a certain number. I mean, the certain number of trips to the mound. I mean, they used to have unlimited trips to the mound and stuff, and games were played in 2 hours.
Right.
It's the TV. Excuse me. It's the TV. It's the commercials. It's this trip to the bullpen is sponsored by. It's all of that nonsense.
And you know what? It also could be some. I mean, it's not going to be a lot, but some of it is walk-up music. Those guys don't get into the box until their walk-up music is done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, they tried it with the nonsense with the walk and it's the intentional walks that are taking all the time. What did they save? Like 10 seconds in a game?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think they got to a minute when they did all of that stuff the one year, did they?
No.
I don't know.
So.
I don't think so either, but it's just plain ridiculous. And the public is we're paying for it. And we should be, I don't know what can be done with Manfred, but something has to be done somewhere along the line.
I find it very interesting that everybody in the game of baseball likes that runner on second base in extra innings. Everybody in the game. All fans hate it. But people, that small circle of people in the game, we love it. We love it. It's just fake baseball to me.
Do you think they just dislike the 15 or 18 inning games or something? We used to hear Keith Hernandez complain about we're still here and blah 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 and all of that. Nothing's going on, and maybe that's why they like it, because it brings it to a conclusion. To me, it's a gimmick.
Me too. To me, it's a gimmick too. Yeah, the writers like it. The broadcasters like it. They want to get the job done and go home. I get that. And how many times really is there a 15, 18 inning game? Once a year? I mean, it's not a lot. But those are memorable. I mean, who could forget 4th of July, 85?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to forget that.
You're right. I don't know. I don't know what the heck is going on, but we're not going to solve it here. So let's take a break, and we'll come back after this. Let me see if I can.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history. Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get a PhD in life through baseball? Welcome to Baseball PhD, a tour company for your brain. 30 major league teams, 100 places to see. Let's touch them all as we make the road trip of a lifetime.
Check out my Facebook group. It's at facebook.com/MetsMusings. Go check it out, and don't forget to call the hotline. It's 516-619-6341. And we're back. And my guest this week is Jeff Cohen of Baseball and BBQ. And he's got a great show, so I hope everybody goes and listens to that show as well as this show. So, Jeff, we had an incident, if you will. Now, people are coming forward, multiple employees, new ownership, mind you, but new ownership, multiple employees coming in and saying that they working is a toxic workplace, or it was, I should say. They're talking about the Wilpons now, and inappropriate workplace behavior, and that the Mets never acted on it. More than a dozen people, men and women, told The Athletic that Holly Linville, the Mets senior vice president of human resources and diversity, was aware of complaints of harassing language and actions without action being taken against the perpetrators. Complaints that included sexist comments by former owner Jeff Wilpon and former manager Mickey Callaway. The people told The Athletic they felt Linville would rather keep ownership happy than investigate their complaints. Well, that's really her job to a certain extent. One of the key guys was this David Newman, the Mets chief marketing, content, and communications officer, who was rehired by the Mets, and a former marketing staffer, Joe DeVito. They seem to be the two big accused, two guys being accused the most. We know about Callaway with the pictures. Newman is accused of making inappropriate comments about a woman's appearance while with the team from 2005 to 2018. I don't know. I would like to hear what some of the comments was, because if he said to somebody, "You look nice in that dress," is that inappropriate nowadays? You look nice in that suit. That color shirt goes with your eyes. I mean, what can you say?
You don't say anything. You don't say anything. But I find it interesting that it's coming out now, years after the fact. Apparently, this was a open secret, and people knew, but they didn't. Right. And The Athletic right now is saying, trying to take advantage of. Oh, let's try to drum up our subscriber base. We'll make these salacious stories. I don't know if they're true or not. I look, Gary, I'd not heard about that David Newman making sexist remark. I heard he was maybe a hard guy to work for. I mean, if it's a tough guy to work for, it might be a toxic environment, but that doesn't make it illegal. I mean, look,
Right.
I don't know the details. We don't know. You don't know. We don't know.
Right.
I don't know if the Athletic knows. I mean, they just put the story out there. But I think it's just more for clickbait, just to get their subscriber base out. And if it's something that's years ago, under old ownership, why bring it up now?
Yeah.
What are they trying to get to Steve Cohen to get him upset? Be frustrated.
Well, he could be trying to get to Alderson too.
Yeah. And Alderson, Alderson's 72 years old. How much longer is he going to be in charge of the Mets?
Right.
Really?
And he put out a statement. He said, "Let me try to make a point as strongly as I can. Okay. Not every instance involving men, women in a workplace is a capital offense. Okay. Every time something happens, it doesn't mean somebody has to be fired. There are a lot of intermediate steps that can be taken, and we've done that in a variety of different cases." So, in other words, what he's saying is, some of these things, I guess, got reported, and maybe they suspended the guy a day or told him to stay home, or they reprimanded, they put it on his record or something.
Right.
Um,
There's
it
different.
doesn't mean you have to be fired. And again, we don't know what he said. If he said something like, you look nice, as I said, in that dress, I guess you can't say that nowadays, but I'm glad then that I'm retired because,
Look, Gary,
um,
I work for a large company. Every year I gotta read the code of conduct and attest to it. I have to read do sexual harassment training and attest to it. And it does say in there, if there's an investigation, this could discipline and suspension up to and including termination. But they have to go through the steps. They have to go through the steps to get to that point. They just can't fire him right away. Maybe they could. Look, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. But I know in my company, you have to go through the steps
right.
to get to that determination.
Well, you know what? The Athletic reminds me of trying to be nice here. Oh, to hell with it. They remind me of ambulance chasers. As you said, a lot of this stuff is clickbait. I don't know. You go there, they want you to pay a fee. I mean, give us, don't tease us with these things and then make us want to pay, and then charge us for the information when I can wait 24 hours and get it for free somewhere else. So I think they're like some of these lawyers that are ambulance chasers and whatnot. And I don't put too much stock in it. And I know they got a lot of big names there, but you know what? Everything is who reads who and who's got the most listeners and followers now. And it's not like years ago when they used to have backup and before they could publish something. Now they just publish stuff willy-nilly and blame it on Twitter or whatever. I don't know.
Well,
It's
you
just
you gotta be first. You don't have to be right, but you gotta be first.
yeah, you gotta be first. Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of first, I just got the lineup card for the Mets tonight, and Nimmo's out. So the field's
Nimmo's
leading
out.
off. Yeah.
Sure, why not? Take your hot guy out because he had one bad game. Take him out. Luis Rojas, what do you think about the job he's doing?
Uh, I think I don't think he does lineup. I think that it told to him this is who you're putting out there. I'd really like to see more of the bullpen management. Um, I every time I see Familia come in, I'm like, shaking in my boots. I mean, I don't want to see him again. Uh, that's the big thing. It's the bullpen management. Who to bring in when? I mean, David Peterson is pitching tonight. If he gives you 6 innings, by the way, he pitched 6 innings last time. Pitched very well. Why couldn't he go 7 innings?
Right.
I don't understand that. But who are they going to bring in? They're going to bring in May, Loop, and then Diaz.
Yeah.
That's the formula. I like to see him do more matchups.
And that's a good point because the other night Stroman pitched 8 innings. He couldn't go out for that ninth.
Oh, he just looked fantastic, right?
They took him out for Diaz, and he seemed happy about it. I don't understand. Where is these guys fighting to go out for the next inning? It doesn't seem to be there anymore.
No, they don't do that anymore.
I'm glad Stroman's off to a big start. I'm not a Stroman fan. I don't like the bravado. I don't. You have to be confident. I understand that, but I've said it on this program many times, and maybe it hurts the listenership. But sometimes I think his mouth is bigger than his talent, but don't get me wrong. I'm glad he's pitching well. I hope he continues to pitch well all year. Do I think he's worth 18 million? No, he's never done it before. This is the first year he's pitched this well. He's never taken anybody to a World Series. I don't even know if, he has pitched in the playoffs. I don't know how good or bad he's pitched in the playoffs. Somebody was on the wonderful social media was talking about we're talking about extending Syndergaard and Stroman, and one person wrote and said, "Why do you want to, why do you want to do Syndergaard over Stroman? Stroman should get the money, not Syndergaard." And my thought was, well, Syndergaard pitched in a World Series and pitched quite well,
Yeah,
and helped lead them to that World Series.
absolutely.
Has Stroman ever pitched in the World Series? Has he ever pitched his team into the World Series? And don't tell me he played for bad teams, because he had teams that made the playoffs. So there was some good teams there. So please don't say that Syndergaard is not as good as Stroman when we saw him pitch in the most pressure-packed games in 2015 in the World Series. If I'm not mistaken, didn't he pitch in 2016 in a wild card game as
He
well?
did. He did.
And lost that by what, 1-0, or what? It was 1 run. He pitched
Well,
an
he
awesome.
he pitched a great game. He didn't give up a run. He was going up against Madison Baumgartner, and
Right.
Familia gave up the home run to lose the game.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So we've seen him in pressure spots. So look, I don't like. I'm not crazy about Syndergaard either with the big mouth, and I like the whole Thor thing. I think that's cool. I think he did a little too much and got away from the baseball end of things. And but I'm not going to take away from him what he did with this team. And I understand you don't know whether or not he's going to come back, but most of these guys do. Look at DeGrom.
Sure. Yeah.
Look at Matz this year,
Matt's
having a great year, and I
great
couldn't
year.
be happier for him.
Me too. Me too.
I don't know what it is that sometimes these other pitching coaches, but look, it happens to everybody. There are probably pitchers that come here, like Tajon Walker's pitching very well for the Mets. He pitched a good game last night. He got squeezed, but he gave up what, 2 runs or 3 runs? I forget how much he gave up.
3
but
runs, yeah.
3 runs. But look, you'll take that all the time. The problem is they're not hitting for him either.
Right. Well, nobody. Yeah, the team they're
They're
batting
not
what?
hitting for anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, they're batting 241 on the year, and runners in scoring position 192. So
I think Stroman is the most they're hitting for. They seem to score some runs for him. I don't know. I'd have to look at the stats, but
right. Well, they only average, like I said, 3 runs a game. But one thing on Syndergaard, even though we traded for him back after we traded Dickey, I mean, he really grew up in the Mets system. He's one of our guys. That's the thing to say for that too. Stroman, remember when he got traded, he threw a fit. He didn't want to come here. Then the whole thing last year that he opted out because of COVID. Coincidentally, just after he got his service time, that he's going to be a free agent. It's just coincidence. I mean, please, if he really was that concerned, he would have opted out from day one. But be that as it may, he is pitching very well, and you're right. I hope he continues, and I hope he does get a big contract somewhere. Just I'd rather sign Syndergaard. He's more of a really a homegrown Met, even though we traded him when he was very young.
Yeah, and that was a good point. That he waited till he got the service time last year and then opted out due to COVID, and that smelt a little fishy. It just it didn't sit right with me or a lot of people, because it's almost as bad as Blake Snell. Like, he opted out, and then he goes, "Well, if you pay me, I'll play." So he kind of did the same thing. He waited until he knew he was going to get his service time, and then he opted out, which I think is a little. Oh, pardon me.
So let's
a little on the cheesy side, but.
If we can talk a little about Conforto and his troubles, it's just he's got. Well, I know he's going to come out of this funk. He will come out of the funk.
Do you think that this contract is weighing heavily? Here's my thought, just a quick thought. I don't know how true it is or what, but I think this is all total speculation, folks. I have no idea at all. I think he's afraid that he's going to leave. That, uh, that maybe Boris is going to push him to leave, and I don't think he wants to leave. So he's pressing to try to get the contract extension. He doesn't want to negotiate during the year. He's thinking about it too much, and I think it's affecting a game. Plus, I think he's going back to what he did a couple years ago when he had the bad year, and he looks like he's trying to pull everything. His right shoulder's flying out, and instead of staying in there and going to left field, if I was Rojas and Diaz and Chili Davis, I'd be sitting them down and I'd say, I'm going to find you every time you hit the ball to the right side of the field. I want you to hit to the left side of the field. Don't worry about hitting home runs. Just make contact, please.
Right.
Same thing with Alonso. I'd sit him down and say, just make contact. Go to right field. You've got so much power. Somebody said it the other day. The home runs will come.
It will.
But you have to make contact. You've got to hit the ball first. And if you don't hit the ball, it's not going to go anywhere.
And especially when they're shifting on them and you have the whole left side of the field given to you.
Yeah.
Go the other way.
Yeah.
Go the other way.
Last night, as I said, Guillorme did that. They shifted on him. He hit it down the left field line. I think Dom Smith got a hit down that way, the same thing, hitting it the opposite way. And you could see they did it on purpose. They waited and on the ball and took it that way on purpose. I don't, we've talked about this dozens of times, and I don't know why everybody doesn't do that.
I know. I don't understand either.
But what's your thoughts on Conforto? What do you think the problem is?
I think he is pressing. But I do believe he will eventually come out of it. I mean, it's just a matter of time. He just got to get in there. Still got to play him every day because he's your best outfielder, really. I mean, he's going to play every day. Just don't get in the cage and concentrate on hitting the ball the other way. Mm-hmm. And he's taking so many balls right down the middle. For strike one. Yeah. Maybe get a little aggressive. I mean, I see a lot of 0-1, 0-2 counts and then you're in the hole. Mm-hmm. And he's bringing it balls out of the strike zone. And he's getting fooled a lot. Maybe you should do some video on the pitchers, pitching that. I'm sure they do. I mean, I'm sure they have scouting reports and, just to see how they did previously against these guys.
You mentioned the outfield. I don't think the outfield defense has been that bad for this team so far. I think Smith is always going to be an adventure, but I think he's improved out there. And Nemo, I think, is playing a solid center so far, and Conforto, of course, is a good right fielder. Is it? Are they 3 Gold Gloves out there? No, but I think they get the job done. I don't think that's the weak spot defensively.
Well, I saw Nemo made a really good play the other day. He came in for a catch and made the play. It was really good. That impressed me. So yeah, he has improved. He's like Smith is always he's only going to get better because he can't get much worse out there. But he's no who was the catcher when we got Piazza? Hundley. He's no Todd Hundley out there in left field.
Or Lucas Duda or Daniel Murphy.
Right, exactly. They'll be okay. And Nemo, but the thing is with Nemo, and the same thing with Alonso, they've been straddled with that bad reputation that they can't play good defense. And once he gets straddled with that, my friend who's a Yankee fan tells me all the time, "Oh, Alonso, he's not that good a first baseman as Smith." Well, okay, I know Smith is a better first baseman, but Alonso's no slouch. He's right. And Keith Hernandez. When Keith Hernandez says, you're not terrible. You're not terrible.
Yeah. He doesn't make the great plays. He doesn't do the extraordinary plays, but he makes the routine plays, and that's all you can ask for, or for a first baseman. Look, remember the knock on Lucas Duda, and then he kept telling Terry Collins, "I'm a first baseman. I'm a first baseman." Well, they had Ike Davis, who was falling into the stands, and everybody thought, "Oh, this guy's the greatest thing since sliced bread," but he didn't hit after a while, and Duda hit, and he really made himself into a decent enough first baseman. And I think the same thing with Alonso. The thing that concerns me with Alonso is I don't know if the 53 home runs went to his head, and everything it looks like he's swinging to hit everything out of the ballpark. And I think that's a big mistake. Just as we said earlier, meet the ball, hit it the opposite way, and things will fall for you eventually. And Conforto, I don't,
I don't think he's going to hit 50. Yeah, he's not going to hit 53 again. But he'll come around. His biggest problem on defense was going to his right, that second base hole, and not being able to get back to first, hoping the pitcher would cover. He's very decent around the first base.
Yeah,
he knew what he was doing.
And to
I was
me,
impressed by a catcher.
Yeah, we're throwing some guys out now and then at least. McNeil's a bit of a disappointment. I don't know what I think he is. I think he's trying to hit home runs as well. I'm glad he cut his hair. Not that it has anything to do with it, but I get tired of all this sloppiness and this hair, all of that stuff. But he wasn't hitting, so I guess he figured he'd cut his hair to change his luck. Baseball players are very superstitious. But Lindor is Lindor. He'll come around, I'm sure. He's changed leagues, so is a bit of an adjustment. The cold weather. Davis is the guy that really I'm not a fan of him being in the lineup at all. I don't think he brings enough. I don't think his offense is good enough to warrant his defense-like abilities.
Yeah, no, you may be right there, but right now they're gonna stick with him. I think they're gonna try to get Chris Bryant in this by the trade deadline. I think that'd be a good pickup. He'll be last year of his contract, so they don't have to pay much for him. They can let him go and maybe develop another third baseman. But yeah, JD, he's having he's known for his offense, not his defense, and that's a shame. But maybe they look at Guillaume as the guy who can't play every day. Maybe they'll spot weaknesses if he gets in it every day.
Yeah.
So, but he is a very good defensive player.
And the one other thing, and I think I wrote this to you when it happened, that it's a minor thing. It's so trivial that it doesn't probably even warrant me mention. But to me, it's a lack of I forget how I worded it now, but by the coaching staff, there just seems to be a lack of checking everything out. And here's my example. I think it was opening day, actually, at home. And Castro comes in, and first off, I have a pet peeve with these guys wearing the hat cockeyed. I can't, that just drives me nuts.
Uh-huh.
But beyond that, he had the wrong hat on.
Right.
He had the alternate hat. Everybody was wearing the orange lettered hat.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have an alternate that's the orange letters with a white back on it, right? I know it's stupid. I know it's trivial. But to me, it brought up a point that isn't anybody checking what these guys are wearing, at least. It's like there's no attention to detail.
That's what I was going to say, like the attention to detail.
It's a small detail, but it just shows that there's a lack of something. Mm-hmm. And I was surprised that the umpires didn't say something to him.
Right. Exactly.
because I thought you had to be in uniform. Now I know it's part of their uniform, that hat, but I thought, you know, who knows? I mean, now they wear all kinds of different colored spikes and everything else, so I don't even know what the rules for uniform was.
Well,
But it really,
being
as I
relaxed.
yeah, it's a stupid little thing, and I get that. I get that. I don't want people to think I'm obsessed with this, but it was just, it struck me so much that the attention to detail that this guy warmed up, came into a game, pitched an inning, and nobody noticed he had that wrong hat on.
Hmm. Yeah. Attention
You
to
know,
detail is very important.
it
Yeah.
it's I don't know, but that's my pet peeve. I should have did a Mack attack on that, but you know, we can't have everything.
They have
Uh,
two more with the Cubs, Peterson today and Lucchesi tomorrow, and then DeGrom starts against the Nationals on the weekend. But the Nationals, they're hurting.
they're
They're
hurting.
out Strasburg without Soto. That's a big miss.
Yeah, yeah. Until they get here, they'll get them
Uh,
back,
of course.
or or they'll look miraculous or something. But or they'll bring up some guy who'll pitch a one hitter from their farm system. Couple of former Mets called it a career this past week.
Yeah.
On Sunday, Jay Bruce announced that he will be retiring from baseball after a 14-year career. Of course, he played with the Mets part of 16 and the majority of 17. And then he got traded to the Indians in an August trade for minor league pitcher Ryder Ryan. He was also he re-upped with the Mets and then became part of probably the worst trade in Mets history, and I won't mention his name,
Don't
but
say his name.
he the number one pick got shipped to the Seattle Mariners, and two number one picks is really in this article. They don't even mention Justin Dunn, but the Cano Diaz trade. So Jay Bruce calls it a career.
Yeah. No. 14-year career. Very good career. He played mostly known for playing for the Reds. But yeah, he came here in 2016 and it was okay. 2017, traded and came back. But yeah, good career. I love how the Yankees put it on their Twitter. And you're right. You are so smart getting off Twitter. It's just it's just horrible. But they put it on Twitter. And Jay Bruce calls it a career. He retires as a Yankee. What? He played 6 games for the Yankees? Great career to Jay Bruce, who calls it, retires as a Yankee.
Well, the way they're playing, I guess they're grasping at straws for anything to look good at all. But on Tuesday, another ex-Met, former Met, Neil Walker, announced his retirement. He played 186 games as a Met. It almost seems like he played longer than that, but he was hurt a few times. But he played 12 years overall, the first 7 with the Pirates, notched a career .764 OPS. He most recently played in the majors last year with the Phillies before being designated for assignment halfway through the year. So nobody picked him up.
Yeah,
Shame.
no, it's a shame. How old is he?
I don't know. It doesn't give his age here.
I think it's going to be a lot of guys like Neil Walker who are just not going to get contracts.
Yeah.
They're not going to get, if they do, it'll be minor league contracts, not what they used to. But yeah, he's a good guy.
He's 35.
35? Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, he's made his money.
He's going to have a good life, has a lot of money, and good player. Not a superstar, but gave it his all. Good guy.
Maybe
Wish him
some of these
luck.
guys, they don't want to go to. He probably could go to Korea or Japan play, but maybe they, sometimes they don't want to do it. They got kids at home still, and whatnot. They don't want to make that decision. Maybe they just. I was surprised at Jay Bruce though. I can understand Walker. Nobody picked him up, but Bruce was with a team. Yes, he wasn't playing that much, but why go through all the spring training
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
and then 3 weeks into the season just say, you know what, I've had enough.
Right.
On the other hand, he could have been greedy. He could have taken his salary for the year and not complained and not played sporadically and then maybe you consider him greedy or something. But I don't know. I just found it interesting that he called it quits. Maybe he just hated playing for the Yankees. Who knows?
Well, who doesn't?
he wanted out.
Just a quick story on Neil Walker. I don't know if you know this, but he owes his life to Roberto Clemente.
I
don't
did
know if
not know that.
Yes. So the story goes is his father, Bob Walker, who played in the major leagues, he idolized Roberto Clemente and wanted to go on with Roberto on that fateful plane trip to Nicaragua for the supplies. And Clemente insisted, no, go, you stay with your friends and family, and an hour later, the plane crashed. So Bob Walker, wanted to go on that plane.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Jeez. Well, that's fascinating. Roberto Clemente, and great player. For those that didn't see him, definitely a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah.
And a terrific player. Drew Smith might be coming back.
Who is he?
Reliever. Another arm in a bullpen.
Uh-huh.
So that he'll be back soon. He came over in a Duda trade, I think, from Tampa. Let's see what else do we got here notes wise. I think that's about it for now. Minor leagues open up May the 4th. Finally,
All right.
We're gonna see minor league baseball, and of course the whole major league grab of the minor leagues and getting rid of teams, restructuring
tradition.
leagues.
They got rid of tradition. There was the remember the Pacific Coast League, the International League. I mean, those were steeped in tradition.
Yeah.
Gone.
And they did away with the New York Penn League, which was a short season league, but was well needed. And now it's gone. Thankfully, the Cyclones are still a farm team. There'll be a high A in the new high A league that they're having, certain teams are gone and certain teams are. One team went from the Atlantic League, which was an independent league, and is now a affiliate of the Yankees. I think Double A, is it not? The Somerset Patriots.
Oh, Somerset Patriots, right? The Patriots, yes.
And the Hudson Valley Renegades, who I always used to enjoy going to see the Cyclones play. They'll still be playing the Cyclones, which is decent. But you know what? I went to a couple of Hudson Valley games when they weren't playing the Cyclones, and I rooted for them because they were part of Tampa Bay. Now they're an affiliate of the Yankees. But I urge any Yankee fans to go up there, and it's a nice little ballpark if you've never been, and they've always treated me nicely. I don't know now with the Yankees how they're what their affiliate. They've changed press guys. I was there for the Cyclone games. As I said, I went a few times. I've been up there for All-Star New York Penn League All-Star game, and was very fortunate to meet some nice people up there and get press passes and do some interviews. In fact, one of the guys that the last guy that I knew up there was the announcer and I'm trying to think what they called him, press communications director. Because a lot of these places they do the announcing and the communications guy at the same time. in the minor leagues, and that was Skip Carey's grandson.
Oh, okay.
He was the guy up there. He was the announcer for a couple of years, and nice guy. Got to meet him a couple of times, talked to him a little bit, talked about his grandfather and Harry Carey's grandson, and his
Nice.
father was Skip. Yeah, so and then he did Stony Brook football, I think, in the off season.
Mhm.
And now I think he's down south doing either double A or high A baseball. So
Yeah,
uh,
you mentioned the communications guy. I saw the other day that the Brooklyn Cyclones had to let go their guy who played the king with the crown.
King Henry is
Yeah,
gone.
he's
Yes,
gone. Yeah, budget cut.
that's awful. That's terrible news. King
I know,
Henry was great.
I know, right?
uh Budget cuts, Stevie, come on. You got $1 billion. What do you gotta cut King Henry for? I you know I I said I saw that on Facebook when he wrote that, and I wrote, no, I said, people, you got to write in and complain and say we want King Henry back.
Save King Henry.
Yeah, I was upset about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
We've been to a few Cyclones games. We've had some
sure.
fun there,
Yeah,
and
King Henry's
I'd
always
like to say,
entertaining.
I'd like to say I'm going this year. I don't know about getting to a ballpark this year with the still leery with the COVID,
Mhm.
and but we'll see. But yes, I heard that. That was terrible. I said to my wife, I said, King Henry's gone. And I was just looking to have a picture of him that we took with him and his wife. Very cordial. I think, wait, I said him and his wife. No, it was my wife. And I don't know if you could, it's on, I should have put it on the computer. Can't really see it because of the green screen background. But yeah, what a shame. And I don't understand why they're doing it. As he said, budget cuts. Come on.
Yeah, come
Come on.
on,
How
really.
much budget cuts you got to make
To
to
get
the
50 bucks a game or something?
Cyclones? Yeah, I
Can't be
mean,
that much.
and he did a lot. I mean, he did a lot of promotional thing in the neighborhoods and stuff. During the off season, you'd see things where he was at this bank handing out tickets, or
Mhm.
tchotchkes or whatever for the Cyclones. So I don't know. It's not going to be the same without King Henry.
I know.
So we'll see.
Yep.
Well, Jeff, this has been an entertaining time, and I want to thank you so much for coming on today's show.
Well, before I go, I want everybody to know that dropping this Saturday, we have our Baseball and Barbecue podcast, and we have a special guest host for our second interview. You might recognize that voice, Gary Mack.
I'm the guest host.
Yeah, you, me, Len, and we interviewed Stu Thornley.
Okay.
Yes, that's dropping Saturday. So everybody take a listen to that.
Okay. I know that you guys are doing some great interviews. Tell the folks who you've had on recently that have dropped.
Recently, that has dropped. We've had, well, if you like pizza, this guy named Paulie G, who's has great pizza out in Brooklyn. We had Marjorie Adams, who's the great granddaughter of Samuel Doc Adams, who's one of the fathers of professional baseball back then. So yeah, she was fantastic. Yeah. We've had on Tim Kirchian. We've had on one of our favorites, Howard Johnson. And we also have former San Diego Padre Kurt Bavacqua on as well. So yeah, we get people from barbecue, from baseball. Come take a listen.
Yeah, it's a great show, folks, and like I say, it's always leaving me hungry at the end. So they talk, but the baseball talk is great and the barbecue talk is great. And I don't even barbecue that much. And the wife does it. She'll tell me to watch it. I'll watch it. I'll flip the burger, but that's about it. It's fascinating, and you guys are great. And you can't meet or listen to two nicer people than Jeff and Len, and it's my pleasure to always promote your show here.
Well,
So.
you didn't just promote our show. Everybody should know that Gary was a mentor to us when we started out, and we thank him tremendously for that. We owe him absolute lot. So people, Gary Mack is he's the man.
Well, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. And thank you for your time today. And I knew I dragged you away from work. I know how painful that was for you.
Yes.
And I want to thank you for listening in and watching if you check this out on YouTube. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, or I believe that now that's being unpolitical correct. They're changing it according to Apple Podcasts. It's going to be follow button. So whatever it is on Apple Podcasts now, hit the follow or the subscribe button. Same thing on Google Play and YouTube, wherever you watch or listen to the podcast. It helps me grow the community and expand to new listeners. And until next time, remember to keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. And I'll see you next time on another edition of Mets Musings.